It is the final day of the season. This is the absolute last hurrah when it comes to buck tracking this year. So I'm gonna be trying to get out here, try to cut a buck track. I got a very short day. I need to be back by about 11 o'clock to the home here today. So if I find anything decent, I'm going to be going in after it right away. It is brutally cold day though. It's negative 12 degrees. We're going to get going here, not waste any time. We got a porcupine here right on the side of the road. He seems pretty cold. So exciting news here. I drove back into the spot where I had tracked that buck the other day, and there was no tracks crossing the road, nothing at all. And the road was snowed in a little bit, but some tire tracks had gone down it, so I was able to just easily cruise back here. And I got to the spot where this buck was when I first tracked him, and nothing here, but I crested over the top of this hill right over here, which that's where I found a bunch of his beds and all that sign where he'd been digging up and everything. And I got over the hill, and probably 30 yards from the road, there's tons of this area that's all dug up. And that's fresh because we just had this snowfall on Monday through Monday. So this would have been sign that he laid down either late Monday or yesterday and last night. So I didn't go in very far just because I didn't want to booger anything right away. So I'm going to kind of figure out what kind of wind direction I got going on here, and then make my way in there, and hopefully I've got the wind to my advantage on this time. But he's here. I mean, he likes this spot. He really likes this spot. So I gotta just play my cards right here. And oh man, this would be a last second Hail Mary to get after this buck. But if I don't get him today, I'm gonna throw a camera out here and put the cell cam on, because I amazingly have service back here, and I just checked the cell camera to see, and it does work back here. So if nothing else, it might be a late season bow hunt type situation. So as long as this road doesn't get snowed in too deep, otherwise then it'll be a pain in the butt. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So this could be real exciting. As I pulled up my gun, I realized in this moment that I had forgotten to turn off my red dot scope, which is battery powered, and that had been running since the last time I hunted, so my battery was dead, and it was going to mean that I had to use open sights on this hunt. You can see he's got this place just tore to pieces. And there's those tine marks in the snow. Right there. That's him. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky to figure out, but his track just led me to this bed here and this bed here, and there's a running track coming out of this bed that way, and there's a running track coming out of this bed that way. The only thing is that there's tarsal P right there. this is the bigger bed right here. But that one also has a little bit of it too, as you can kind of see. So I half wonder if he's running with another deer back in here. There's 2 bucks maybe. Okay, so down right there, one of the tracks stopped and looked back to the direction that I came from. So I think that this is fresh tracks that I busted them out of because they stopped and looked back at me. So they're still running together. Right now I kind of have a crosswind, so I'm not totally at a disadvantage. So I'll see if I can get close to him and get a view. So the 2 tracks are just about 20 yards apart right now, and they're headed up in the direction going straight to that point. In fact, if you can see down there, that is that marsh right down in there that I walked along the edge of, chasing after his track this way, and he headed up the hill right over to a point, and the point was back over this direction, and this is where these tracks are headed. The beautiful part is this time I have the wind advantage, so I may try to kind of circle around it when I get closer towards it and see if I can't spot him. But man, this is shaping up now to be a real good hunt, especially when I've got a better idea what he's doing. So there was a small ridge that was right directly in front of me, and that was blocking my view to the main ridge where the buck bedded a couple days prior. And so I was sneaking around this ridge that was in front of me and was anticipating that the buck would have made his way all the way over to that other ridge. But all of a sudden things got interesting pretty quick. So even though I had messed up my opportunity on this deer by not turning my safety off, I still knew that there was the bigger buck ahead of me. snow right there. Heading down the hill, that's where he went, down that direction the first time. But now this buck ran up this way. I think that this is the bigger one that I almost had that second opportunity to shoot at. Plus, since it's in the same spot, it makes me really think it's that buck that I tracked a couple days ago. He's the bigger one. I almost got a shot at him. So I've been following him for quite a while, and I decided that, I'm running out of time here, and I think it wouldn't be very ethical to continue hunting him, because if I got a shot at him, it might not be the most ideal shot, and then I'd just end up wounding him and have to leave and get to what I gotta go to. So I'm deciding to back out at this point. Plus I got short time, and I need to get back to the vehicle. Wow. That was an unbelievable hunt, man. I'm telling you. I'm starting to figure this out a little bit. I got within 20 yards of a buck that I tracked, and I had to circle around that hill because I knew if I just followed straight behind his track, my scent would get to him and he'd bust out of there. So I swung around, and it worked out for my advantage. If only I would have turned my safety off, I could have put a bullet into that thing. Okay, so this is the bed where I kicked that buck out of the first time, that close encounter. He ran off that direction. You can see he came running in from here and was bedded right here, watching his back trail. And I was just right around the lip of that edge right there. So down in the bed, I don't think he could see me until I popped out right there. And that's when all chaos ensued. So, wow, what an incredible hunt. I'm pretty happy with that. Nothing like a negative 17 degree. The trees are popping. Nothing like a negative 17 degree day to go out and track a buck. Even though I messed up my opportunities on this hunt, I still feel like this was a huge confidence booster for me. I got within 20 yards of a buck that I was tracking. It's the very first time I've actually seen a buck that I was following. It's taken me 4 years of tracking to get to this point. I just can't wait till I finally can seal the deal. After the season, I went to clean out my muzzleloader and realized that the action was still not working. So my hammer didn't freeze up from the elements, it just had not been properly oiled. So that was a mistake on my part that cost me an opportunity at a buck. So I'm going to make sure that into the future I don't make those mistakes again. I ended up putting out a cell camera in this area just because I wanted to have another opportunity to hunt this deer late season, but also because I really wanted to see what his antlers looked like. For whatever reason, I didn't end up getting this buck on camera until December 23rd. And when he finally showed up, all I got was a buck that had shed his antlers. But being that I'm a stubborn Finlander, I decided to try to put a camera out in this area this past summer just to see what this deer looked like. And I got a picture of a buck. And we only get to see part of a main beam and two tines. Seems like a fitting end to a buck tracking story. It's kind of the thrill for every tracker, wondering what does this deer look like. And so the fact that I still don't really know what he looks like, it's just part of the allure of tracking a buck. That first deer that I would have shot may have been the smallest buck I would have ever tried to kill. But I think that the story of this hunt is what defines the trophy.
not the size of the antlers. This would have been one of the hardest earned deer that I had ever gotten. Pretty much everything I know about buck tracking from experience has happened in these last 2 seasons, and especially with this buck. I'm so excited to see those experiences shaping me into the future for my tracking. I know that it's going to help me, I know it's going to make a difference, and that I'm going to get more opportunities. And you better believe it, this coming season, I'll at least be checking out that area. Maybe if I get another opportunity to track that deer, the 3rd time will be the charm. Thanks for watching, guys. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel.